Welcome to all the listeners, viewers. Once again, we've got letters from Russia. What did you say, Simon? History in the making.
History in the making, certainly a historical opportunity at the very least.
Okay, yeah. Well, Simon, take it away. Let's hear this history in the making. What do you call it? Baie nuuskierig. What is that in English now?
Very inquisitive or very curious.
Yes, curious is the right word. I'm very curious.
Yeah. Marius, I'm here in the, excuse me. What is the name of this place? Ayman. Aleman Center. Cluster?
The name of the build is Cluster
Romanovska. Lomonosov. Oh, the intellectual, the founder of the university. Okay. I'm on my interview. I want to tell the people correctly. Marius, this building, I forgot the name, is called the Cluster Lomonosov. It's named for a Russian academic who famously walked 2,000 kilometers barefoot through the snow from Arkhangelsk to Moscow, and he became this great genius, and he founded Moscow State University in the 1500s. It was Moscow's first, or rather, I should say, it was Russia's first university. I'm coming to you from there, and I've been attending this forum. It's called the Forum of the Future, and I have been very impressed by one thing that's really jumped out at me. I'll digress briefly by saying that yesterday, Elon Musk's father spoke. I'm not a fan, but he made a good point. He said that his sons had discouraged his daughter from accompanying him. They said, don't go with dad, don't go with dad. And she ended up not coming. And he said that in spite of that, or contrary to that, from the moment that he got off the plane, he's discovered that everything that we've ever been told about Russia is 180 degrees incorrect. And that's something that I've been saying since I've been here, as you know.
Yeah.
And that's just to illustrate a principle. The principle of something just jumping out at you. You make a discovery that never in your wildest dreams did you expect to make. And likewise, over the past couple of days, I've made another discovery, and that is Russia's commitment to conservative, Christian, Caucasian identity and values, not in the spirit of white supremacy, kill the other guy, or anything like that. There are many ethnic groups within Russia that coexist very, very well. Apart from some bumps in the road. There's not always been a perfect inter-ethnic scenario in Russia, but by and large, they have what's known as a modus vivendi, a way to live. They've found a way to live together. As the Kavkaz people, the people in the south, in the Caucasus, as they say, the Dagis and the Chechens, we didn't become part of Russia voluntarily, and neither will we leave voluntarily. In other words, now that we're here, we're very happy.
Yeah.
And the Russian state spends a lot of money on them. There's a famous interview with Vladimir Putin in which a woman from the Caucasus says, look, you've given us so much money and we've done so well with it. You know, I've bought a house and a car and this and that. So I'm here today to ask you for more money, please. And Vladimir Putin says, I think Russia has given, you know, the ethnic groups more than enough. Just be grateful for what you've got. So this is not their angle. Their approach is not about beating up the other guy, but it is very solidly addressing the matter that lies at the core of Suidlanders, our identity, our people, our cause, especially in the time that lies ahead of us. And having made this discovery, it occurs to me that this is a once in perhaps 200 or 300 years opportunity for a Caucasian people, a European people, to take the lead in overt conservatism. I can't think offhand of a time when a country anywhere in the world wanted to drive our conservatism. You know, it's a conservatism that comes from the time of Christ. There was always a way, and it was biblical. And then it was lost gradually, more and more and more and more and more. And now we are practically animals. Well, I am, compared to my forefathers. And very often we can't even see it. The aspects to our behavior that we know are wrong. And I think that there are many aspects to our behavior that we don't even realize would be reprehensible to our forefathers. In the time that we lost that, I can't recall of any country saying, hey, you know what, let us be the spearhead in rediscovering the traditional conservative Christian values of the European peoples. This conference may be a sign of as I say, historical opportunity for one particular people to create a train, if you like, a locomotive of conservatism in the West or among the European peoples. Here you see the Russian state explicitly saying, we will work with whichsoever groups. We don't want LGBTQ in our schools. We reject Western propaganda. We will not allow international fraternal societies, Freemasonry, whatever, to call the shots here. They're explicit, driving or attempting to create a locomotive such as we have never, perhaps ever seen. Perhaps, I don't know, since the time of the founding of the Amish or the Puritans before that, but those weren't state initiatives. Let's be more conservative. As you had in Iran in 1979, 1980, the Ayatollah coming back and saying, we reject all liberalism and all Westernism. This is now henceforth going to be a Shia Islamic theocratic state, a state ruled by a theocracy, a government of religion, theos being God in Greek. This is a really unique thing, and I wanted to speak about it. I wanted to say we may see a ray of hope such as none of our states have given us since, well, I can think of no examples in European history where a state has said, right, we're going to go back to the basics. Not a church, not an individual, but where a state has said, we will endeavor to rediscover our traditions, our culture, our faith, our norms and values and mores, to use the good word mores, morals, what you believe to be right and wrong. And that's about the gist of it, Maurice. I don't know if you've got questions about examples or whatever, but I see a historical opportunity for Russia to be the vanguard of a rediscovery of true Christian values in the West.
Yes. Simon, I also think it's very special. If you look in today's society, the social media, the movies that's coming out, the politics, I mean, it's everywhere that, like you said, the white Christian Caucasian people has been just pressed down and oppressed, and nothing we do and we want to do is correct. It doesn't fit in with the left, and so forth. So for you to be at a place where that is the topic of the main topic of conversation of how are we going to save these this like-minded people. I mean, it's fantastic. You have to be born under a rock if you don't know that being a Christian, a Caucasian white person at this stage and age, you are the bad guy. It doesn't even matter how good a person you are. It's just because you are religious and you are white, you are the bad guy in today's society. So for you to be at a place with lots of leaders and lots of people coming together, and that is the main focus of how are we going to preserve that, it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and it's a state, partly, I mustn't exaggerate it, it's largely sponsored by one man, a billionaire called Malofiev, but it is a state-endorsed event. There are many people from the state. I've spoken about Lavrov and Zakharova being here in recordings that I've made today. There are many people here, Marius, who've fled the West because of the moral decay. And they're not necessarily paragons of virtue. They're not perfect people. I'm not. Everybody who knows me knows that I'm a bit of a scallywag. But I do believe in fighting for a better something that is ours. And I'm willing to conduct that fight on behalf of people who are better people than I am, on behalf of my children and on behalf of righteous, decent, respectable people who perhaps don't have my flaws. And I meet these guys, again, I say, they're not paragons of virtue, from all over the world who've just decided, I can't take it in Canada anymore, in Australia, New Zealand. And I think that if the Russians are willing to be the standard bearers, or to continue to be willing to be the standard bearers, they will attract the participation of tens of millions of people from the West. There's little doubt in my mind that between the, whatever it is, I think the number's 400 million people in the European Union, something like that, and the roughly 250 million white people in the USA, and the Canadians and the New Zealanders and Australians, I think that it is literally tens of millions who may say, let's go to Russia. Let's make a family in Russia. Let's make a Christian life in Russia. Not for 1 minute am I advocating that our Suidlanders people should leave South Africa. As I've told you, the offer to jump on the jumbo jet was given to Suidlanders first in 2017, early 2018, when a representative from the White House called Charles C. Johnson, known as Chuck Johnson, phoned me and said, we think you guys are the right guys for this initiative. And I said to him, it's out of the question. We are specifically preparing a national emergency plan for our continued existence in this country. It would be a very contrary message, or certainly a bewildering message. People would be verward, as you say in Afrikaans, if we were to then also be kind of co-sponsors, as it were, or facilitators of immigration. So I'm not changing my tune. I'm not now saying Suidlanders should leave. I'm only saying one thing, that if Russia continues on this path, if they continue to be the standard bearer for the rediscovery of our moral truths and of the creation of societies that do not pervert our children, then I believe that the number of people who will leave other Western societies to come here will run to tens of millions, 20 million and above. I'm sure that that's not an unsafe number. It might at first be a little trickle, as I'm meeting many expatriates or immigrants from Western societies here and elsewhere in Russia. At first a trickle, then a stream, then a river, then a raging torrent. Once people come here and the word gets out about how much space there is, how much land there is, how affordable it is, what opportunities there are in an economy that is more like exploding than growing, people will take their chances and come to snowy Russia. And I'm very anxious to get that message out. Not to say that people should leave, but to say, hey guys, just look at what's going on here. This may turn out to be one of the greatest success stories for our ancient European culture, of its entire history, Marius.
Yeah, Simon, I agree. It's just nice to know that there is a country, a state, a people that are willing to do this, to say, let's get together and speak about this, because it's taboo all across the rest of the world at this moment. It's taboo to do this. You will be labeled all kinds of things, maybe lose your job or whatever. And it's like you say, it's just nice for it to be there, to start the conversation. Like you said, the fruits that it may bear for the future could be significant.
Yeah, it could really be tremendous. As much as I say that I'm not suggesting that our people should leave their homelands and disintegrate to the four winds their culture, because once you know those Afrikaners who went to America within one generation will no longer be Afrikaners, and they're never coming back. So there will be a lot that is lost, certainly among our people. However, I will say that if you haven't visited Russia, which nobody has, I mean, I only know one person, and that's Wessel Skippers and his wife. But I mean, I know him. He's my connection. So in that sense, only one person. If people have the opportunity and they want to witness for themselves, what is this society? What is this society? What is this place? Come for a visit. It's, every holiday is expensive. And when you fly from South Africa to all the way to Russia, you're going to pay somewhere between, if you're lucky, 12,000 and 21,000. It depends on the time of year. It depends upon which airline you fly. It depends upon whether it's a non-stop flight or you stop over somewhere. It depends upon the time of day and night, and it depends upon the day of the week. And so there are many factors. But let's say you were at the upper end, you were unfortunate, you were in for about 20 grand. It's then going to cost you, perhaps if you stay at a hotel like the one that I'm staying at, which is a nil-star hotel, but it's clean and it's comfortable. It's going to cost you in Moscow, which is far more expensive than anywhere else except St. Petersburg. It's going to cost you probably 40, to be safe, call it $50 a day per person for accommodation, although you can get a lot less. What would that be? That would be $50 would be 1,000 Rand a day. It'll cost you about another, if you if you're conservative with your money, 150 Rand a day in food. I spend about 300. I've always been a big eater, and I'm sick and tired of tuna out of a can and cashew nuts, as I ate for 3 weeks straight on my last tour of the USA. So, yeah, I spend a little bit more, but you could look at, as I say, 1,000 Rand a day for accommodation, or a lot less if you're willing to compromise severely, you know, shared bathrooms and that kind of thing. So you could have a 10-day holiday here for 40,000 Rand comfortably. I think, you know, 20 grand for a ticket, 10 nights at 1,000 Rand for accommodation, another 150 times 10, 1,500 Rand for food, call it 2,000 Rand, 2.5 grand. And then you've got some change for taxis and things like that. I encourage really, because it gives you a sense of perspective. I am now in the blessed position. I mean, I didn't create this opportunity. Mr. Miller did. And our sponsor, Vessel, did. And we've had some help from somebody else who wishes to remain anonymous. So, you know, I'm not in a position to brag. All I can say is I'm blessed. I'm fortunate to be able to say to other people, to be able to come here and then to be able to say to other people, hey, guys, there's real action happening there. There is something very, very special happening in Russia, and it is 180 degrees, the diametric opposite of every single thing that you are told. Because then even if you are not wishing to be an immigrant, even if you're a solid Suidlander who is preparing for a bitter future, such as has been promised to us by Sina van Rensburg, then you will still have a reference point on something or you will have an understanding of something magnificent and profound that is occurring in this country at the moment.
Yeah, Simon, I'm very jealous, and I'm glad that you are there at the same time. Wish I could have been there for 10 days with you to experience this, not just through your eyes, but through my own eyes as well. And I'm glad you are there and sharing this latest with us, and the things that you are experiencing. I think a lot of people need to know it. We've been so programmed by the West of a different image of what Russia is and how the people are and so forth, that it's nice. It's nice to hear the truth, the unbiased truth of how it is for real there. And it's definitely moved up on my travel wish list of someday going someplace. I mean, Russia is sort of on the top almost now of a country that I would like to go see.
Yeah, it's a bit like, this might sound like I'm really leaping off the topic, but in my mind, there's some sort of connection. I made a video earlier in which I spoke about this gay Republican US politician, Lindsey Graham, proposing 500% bone-crushing sanctions on Russia. That sounds like something. You think, oh, 500% sanctions on Russia? Goodness me. Until you just scratch the surface a little bit and you discover that it's got nothing to do with sanctions on Russia, not zero. What he's proposing is, in fact, that countries that do business with Russia be charged by the USA 500%. So if you, Marius, are a country and you buy 1,000 tons of fertilizer from Russia, and let's say it costs you $10 million, Lindsey Graham is saying that the country of Marius, the Republic of Marius, should pay the USA free money, $50 million. It's too much for your mind, the deceit, the dishonesty of what they ram down our throats is too much for your mind. Half of the world is walking around thinking, oh, Lindsey Graham wants to impose sanctions upon Russia. It's simply false. It's simply not true. Not even slightly, not even a little bit. It is explicitly 500% on those countries that do business with Russia. So you, the Republic, the Free Republic of Marius, you buy your $10 million worth of fertilizer, as Russia makes about something like 70 or 80% of all of the world's fertilizer. And then the USA sticks out its hand and says, we want free money from you. This is bizarre. I know young children. I'm not talking about, children who are already 5 and 6 years old. I'm talking about 2 and 3-year-old children who comprehend the fallacy of that principle, that I should pay a third party. I know 3-year-old children who would resist if you said to them, I wish to spank you because you have a healthy relationship with a third party that has got nothing to do with me. I wish you to pay me for your good relationship with somebody else. It's asinine. It's inane. It's difficult to believe that, and I'm sorry to say it, and I'm going to use a little bit of a crass expression now, but it is the expression. It's the expression that the Americans use, shitting on America again. And that's not my point. I didn't wake up this morning with some urge to be anti-American. The reality is that Lindsey Graham, all by his own self, and he's a full-grown man, he's in his late 60s or early 70s, by himself invited me to speak about these things. You come up with something as bizarre, as grotesque as that, and somebody figures out that it's absolutely fictional, not to mention asinine. And then they make a video about it. It's not about hating the USA. But my point being, I was trying to marry the disconnect between perception and reality. There's a principle here that is common to this Lindsey Graham nonsense. The perception of it and the reality of what it is are as far from one another as the East is from the West. Similarly, people's perceptions of Russia are as far from reality as the East is from the West. And to get back to the real point, if you want to see for yourself, I invite people to come here and to witness for themselves a society that is vital and Christian. The church is all over here. They have different kinds of like priests and pastors and what have you. The wives are here, the men are here. The church is heavily involved in this. A young, vital, vibrant society living a Christian, decent life while prospering fantastically. Come and visit. Come and see Russia for yourself. I hope that I didn't try to blend ideas that were a little bit.
No. It all makes sense. Okay, it looks like our time is running out, Simon. And I hope you have great success while being there. I know you will, and we'll look forward to having more chats like this about that event and see a bit more videos and things like that about just the kind of ideas that while you're attending it and then reporting back at us, the kind of ideas that they are throwing around and the things that they are talking about. I will be very interested to, on a later stadium, again, speak to you maybe about it.
I look forward to speaking to you on Thursday. And in between, I might make some videos. I've got to make some urgent preparations to travel very far to the south. So the next few days are going to be a bit up and down, but I'm sure I'll find the time now that I've got a Russian phone and a Russian SIM card, and I've got good connectivity to the internet to make videos in between trains, planes, and automobiles.
That's great stuff, Simon. I hope you have a great one, and then we'll speak about in a couple of days' time again.
Fix up 100%. God bless everybody. Cheerio, Marius.
Cheers, Simon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.